So we're moving again. And every time we move, we get rid of so much. That's actually a really great part of the process. Like I actually hate moving. I hate everything about it. I hate the cost. I hate the work. But I do love watching a bunch of bags getting thrown out. And I'm always wondering, like, where did this other bag of stuff come from? I thought I'm living such a minimalistic life. I'm thinking I've been throwing things out. And really 2 years ago, when my partner and when Xerxes and I moved out of New York, we were throwing things out every weekend, every day. We were living in a no bedroom in a studio apartment, somehow throwing massive things out every week and still had a bunch of stuff. But we had at that point dwindled down so much of it because we were moving our stuff into storage, and every box means we would have to pay for that. So it had to be so precious to make it into that storage that we were leaving there for like 2 months. And it had to be very, very precious and very necessary on the other end. We were moving out of New York. We went to Southeast Asia for like 2 months, and then we moved to Philly. So once we got here, of course, everything you packed, you have to unpack. That's another reason to pack less. And we're very proud of ourselves for like how little we had. And still, it felt like we had so much. The move cost more. We had to get movers. And I think mostly we had to get movers because of me, because I'm not able to haul any heavy things. Like it's a lot. And especially, moving a whole home. And like I said, I thought we had very little, but we filled a truck. So part of now moving again is getting it down to so little that we are actually minimalistic. Like I don't know if I would call it minimalist. I don't like those boxes like, ooh, like once I decide, okay, I'm a minimalist, and then I have something extra, it's like, ooh, but you're not, like, I don't think I can ever commit to something like vegetarian. I did it for like a year, or vegan or something, because as soon as I eat one thing outside of that, like I don't get to be it anymore. I think I like to borrow from things. So I'm going to heavily borrow from minimalists, and so is he. And we're going to pare it down so much that we're going to take a little bit of space in my brother's basement, as little as possible, like maybe a box each or something. And the rest of it, we would have to be able to get on a plane with it and like easily move from one place to another. That's whether we actually get on a plane and become digital nomads or do anything remotely close to that. Again, I don't want to call myself a digital nomad, because what if it's not exactly? So if we borrow from that, if just to be in the mindset of no matter what, let's get to a point where we can move out of state, out of country. We can really only have the things that we absolutely need. So now I come to, what do I do with my journals? That move 2 years ago, I got rid of a ton of journals. I had journals from when I was a kid. I didn't get rid of everything, but I got rid of those like Dear Diary sort of journal, like today I this, or here's my heavy feelings about this. Because as I was going through it, I realized that, first of all, it wasn't really authentically truthful. What I was doing with journaling was I didn't feel like I can express myself emotionally out loud to anyone. So I was putting it in my journal, but I didn't even feel safe enough to write it down, because I think we always saw like, moms finding their kids' diaries and reading it and then talking to them from a place as if they wrote them a letter. That was my diary. I don't want to discuss this. Or a bully finds it or something, or your brother finds it. It's just like these embarrassing scenarios of somebody might find it, read it, and then that authentic person who was talking to themselves, me, would only would only find shame or like vulnerability that wasn't invited, like just this. I was always nervous about that. And so I wrote in code. I would write poetry, and I roll my eyes at poetry because I don't know if it was poetry. Sometimes it rhymed. Sometimes it was so emotional and not straightforward, not like in paragraphs, because that's how I wrote in code. Maybe I'm writing a song. You don't know. You don't believe that this is me. And then the other way I wrote, and sometimes this was, if somebody took this, it would be vulnerable, is I would exaggerate my feelings towards maybe potential romantic partners, actual romantic partners, crushes. And I know how I felt at the time, and I know it wasn't that. And I think what I was doing is I was watching all these sitcoms growing up. And the only emotions that really came out of the girls on there, I'm not blaming this. I'm trying to find where these things come from, where behaviors and actions and thoughts come from. And I think it was this. So every girl on a sitcom would be boy crazy. That's the thing that was expected. That's the thing that was like fun to talk about and made her interesting and made her a proper teenager, like it's almost expected. And so I would put any angsty feelings, emotional overwhelm into more of a romantic idea in my journal, diary, whatever it was at the time. Meaning, instead of saying, why do I feel bad? I would maybe write about being lovesick. But it's like, no, that's not what I was feeling. I was feeling like I was in a very dark place sometimes, and I didn't understand why, because I had everything I needed. So I didn't understand why emotions were a lot of times in overwhelm, like overwhelmingly happy, like too like manically happy or depressingly sad. And I'm using that terminology without being diagnosed. I'm just using it as what it felt like. It felt manic. Where it wasn't scientifically or psychologically, I did not get a diagnosis. It just felt like too much up and too much down. And I didn't feel like I had any middle ground, and I didn't know where to put it. So a lot of where I put it was in poetry, songs, notes. And now I got rid of a lot of that because I got what I needed out of that. It was more of a purge. And I decided that my morning journal pages that will be deleted, whether if it's after a month or periodically or at the end of the year, it's not going to be precious to me anymore. I don't feel the need to look back. And when I do look back, I'm like, yeah, that was like a purge. I'm more honest now. So I feel like what my morning journaling does is it purges some thoughts, and then those thoughts don't need to be in me anymore. And maybe that's why I don't need to review them. What else? So now I'm down to a few journals. And when I say a few, I'll show you pictures of it because I can't reach it or show you on camera, but I'm also looking at 6 composition books. I have all of these things, and I have even like these sizes. And I mean, going through them today, I went through them because I knew I wanted to show you it. How can I get rid of a gem like this? I'm not usually a doodler. Things are more written here. I don't know if I could. This is not. Oh, wow. Okay. I actually didn't read this until now. I don't know if I could say the 4th line, but wake up again to go to work some more. So tired of being a crackhead whore. Overly frustrated. I wish I were alone. 'Cause the man in my bed I do not wish to bone. I get so bored at my worthless job, so I go to sleep in between my oh yeah Bob. Now, okay, I know that this is not about an actual person. I never even dated or slept or had any sexual relations with anyone named Bob. I think this is me trying to write something clever and failing. So what else? I have, oh, I know this is a song that I wrote like 20 years ago. We came here to Earth to show you what life is like on peace. We may be freaks, but our normality is love. If you look deep inside us, we are holding your hand and you'll never be alone. And what you don't see is what you feel, the feeling of happiness. And then there's head into a zone where the world is okay. While, what is this? While the trembles occur, await another day. I'm not done yet. I'm not finished at all. I have my tomorrow. There's a definite call, and I will pass it on to the children, I swear. Allow them to smile because they know that we care. Let there be sun. Let there be rain. Let us live with minimum pain. So this is me trying to write a second verse of a song that I wrote on an airplane. And I have the word Siobhan up here. And I wonder if that's the woman's name that I met. So there was a lot of turbulence on a flight that I was taking. And I was taking a lot of flights at the time. And none of it bothered me. I was always a pretty positive flyer, I think, because when I was a kid, I used to fly like 13 hours straight. And it wasn't, I just thought that that's how long plane rides took because we went back to the old country. Anyway, so this woman next to me was freaking out and she couldn't handle it. And so I was talking to her and just sort of distracting her from it. She told me about a flight that she took where the turbulence was so strong that anyone not wearing a seatbelt suddenly was on the ceiling or something like that. Like they kind of lost the pressure. Honestly, ever since then, and I think that was like about 20 years ago. Oh my God, it was 30 years ago. Okay. I was going to say I don't fake wearing a seatbelt anymore. I used to like take it off after they checked on me, but I was like, oh, duh, it's for a reason. And I leave it on the whole flight every time I sit. It's not a thing to me anymore. Anyway, so I ended up writing her the first part of this, which I don't have here. I wrote her a little poem and I was talking to her through it and then it ended. And I was young. She was older than me. I think I was like 20 years old. And she called up one of the place that I worked. I was freelancer, but she called up the main company and she told them what a nice person I was. She told my bosses. And I didn't know that people did that, but she wanted to sort of give me some praise to my bosses. And I think, I don't know, it was just very, very sweet. And I have a melody to that and everything. I don't know this second verse, but I used to sing professionally. I wrote some music professionally. And so I have some of the stuff that I did, like I was on an album, Conjure One, and I wrote a song, and the origin of the songs and my attempts at other songs for that album is in one of these composition notebooks. And other songs that I wrote that didn't get sold or bought or whatever, didn't get used. Songs that I wrote that I never put music to. And in my mind, at some point, I see myself going back to music, if only for a hobby. And I don't want to say someday. I want to make sure that I'm not going to say someday over and over in my head. I know I need to put sort of like a date to start the project or the process. While I'm moving, not the time. Is there ever a good time? We'll find out. That's for a different day. Okay, so do I keep this? There's a bunch of stuff here. I don't think people like to be read from the diary. I do have this. It's hilarious to me. This right here is a poem that I wrote when I was like 12, 13 maybe, something like that. And this is before I kissed someone. I had no idea what I'm talking about. Here's a little bit of it. This is the start of it. Bobby opened, oh my God. So Bob was like that's so weird. Bob was just the name I used. That's like my generic American name. Maybe because I didn't know anyone named Bob or Bobby at the time. That could be it. So it'll never even be misconstrued that I'm actually talking about a person. Okay. Bobby opened the door to his big Long Island house. Oh, barf. Oh my God, already. Okay. James quietly followed him. They tiptoed upstairs to the bedroom so that Bobby could give James the tape he borrowed. Oh my God, the tape. On and on. Now, oh my God, it goes on 4 pages. And I have not read that in years until today. And it's so cute to me. But is that dumb? Do I throw it out? What am I going to do? Reread it for the rest of my life? I'm going to be 80 years old. Oh, look, clever 12-year-old said penis. Like, what are we doing here? Should I take digital pictures of some of it and create maybe an album? And here's what. I have to clean up my digital stuff because I'm at capacity. I don't want to pay Google any more space, and I don't want to buy more space on my computer. I want to also pack my computer light. I want to get rid of a lot of things, and I got to figure out how to do that digitally. But anyway, what would you do with your journals? What have you done with your journals? Do I keep this for nostalgia? I have an 8th grade little autograph book where all the other little 8th graders wrote, keep in touch. It was great to know you. Do I need that? Do I even need my high school yearbook? What am I going to do with these things? What do I need? What do you need? What do we need? What do I pack? What do I get rid of? What matters when I'm 50 years old? I know I have to answer this for myself, but I would actually love to hear, and also please subscribe, but I would love to hear what you do with your journals. What would you do in my place? Is nostalgia in our mind? Can I digitize this and at least make it smaller? Should this take up some room in the box that I'm leaving in my brother's basement? What? That just sounds excessive, but I'm thinking out loud as I do here. So I would love to hear you. Would love your comments. And by the way, if you're looking at that subscribe button and you're like, did it already, hey, click on other buttons. They exist over there. Anyway, I'm going to keep talking about this moving journey because it's a big one. It's a big transition. We're having big thoughts about, hey, where is next? No idea. All right. Thanks for listening. Bye.